Okay, so on your road test, there are going to be 3 sections of the outside inspection. Section 1, a Section 2, or a Section 3. Or it could be called a Section A, a Section B, or a Section C. So Section 1 would start from the very top clearance lights all the way to the bottom, where we'll say there's nothing leaking, nothing hanging. We're going to open up the hood. We're going to inspect the engine on both sides, and we're going to end up inspecting this wheel on this side. All right, once we inspect this wheel, that's going to end Section 1 inspection. Section 2 inspection will start from this mirror bracket, the door, and everything in between, including the fuel tank, the battery box, the splash guard, the wheel system, and also the mud flap. So everything in between the side mirror and the mud flap is going to be Section 2 of your inspection. Section 3 is going to start from the trailer, where you're going to start from this header board and this refrigerator, and it's going to include the whole entire trailer, all the way to the back wheel and also the back door of the trailer. So there would be 3 sections, a Section 1, a Section 2, or Section 3, and depending on your examiner, they're going to choose one for you, whether it's a 1, a 2, or a 3, or it's a possibility that they may have you do the whole entire vehicle. All right? So you're just going to be prepared to do a Section 1, a Section 2, or Section 3. So we're going to be doing this outside inspection, and when you do your outside inspection, you do want to have your headlights on and also your 4-way flashes. All right? As we start this inspection, we have to know that your examiner will not ask you what things are. You're going to be explaining to the examiner what these items are around your vehicle. All right? So if you don't mention it, that means they're going to assume that you don't know. They won't let you know, hey, you didn't tell me about this bumper. Oh, you didn't tell me about this grill, and you also didn't tell me about these hood mirrors. All right? So you got to make sure that we know how to identify these parts. So what we do is we're going to start very high and we're going to work our way down to the bottom. So we're going to point to the top. If you are a toucher, you can go around and start touching things. All right? Touching, but you just need to point. So at the very top, we're going to have these 5 lights. These are called clearance lights. All right? The proper color of them are amber, and they are not cracked, they're not broken, they're not damaged, and they are working. Now we're going to inspect the windshield. It's securely mounted. It's not cracked. It's not broken. It's also not damaged. It's properly sealed. There are no illegal stickers on the windshield. We would have an inspection and a registration sticker that is all up to date. The windshield wipers, they're securely mounted. They're not cracked. They're not broken or damaged, and they are attached to the windshield. We're going to have these side mirrors. They're securely mounted. They're not cracked. They're not broken or damaged. We're going to have the hood. The hood is securely mounted. It's not cracked. It's not broken. It's not damaged. We're going to have these hood mirrors and the hood brackets, which are securely mounted. They're not broken. They also are not damaged. The grill. The grill is securely mounted. It's also not cracked, broken, or damaged. We're going to have headlights. We're going to have 4-way flashes, left turn signal and right turn signal, all working. They're not cracked. They're also not broken or damaged. The bumper is securely mounted to the frame, not damaged, and also securely mounted. There's going to be a license plate. License plate would be securely mounted, visible and not damaged. And we're also going to take a look underneath the vehicle, making sure there's no leaks, there's nothing hanging, and there's no leaks such as oil or antifreeze, and that the vehicle is not leaning to the left or to the right, because that could indicate a suspension issue. All right, so that's going to be very top to bottom. Okay, good. So now that I finished inspecting the vehicle from top to bottom, now I'm going to open up the hood. And when I open up the hood, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to inspect this side. I'm going to let the examiner know that my latch is secure. It's not cracked. It's also not broken or damaged. And I have a turn signal that has the proper color amber, not broken, also not damaged. And I'm going to open up my hood, pulling it up and moving the tongue to the side. And I'm going to do it to the other side as well. So as I walk over to this side, I'm going to let them know that the turn signal is working properly, has the proper color amber, the latch is secure, it's not broken, it's also not damaged. And now I'm going to unloosen it and move it to the side. And on the road test, you're going to always open up your hood from the front of the truck. So you come to the front, and there's a handle right here on the nose. And if you need more leverage to open it, you could just put your foot up and then pull it to yourself and just make sure that it doesn't slam down. So as you open up your hood, you're going to always come to the passenger side first. All right, so now that we have opened up the hood, and now we're going to come over to the passenger side, and we're going to inspect the engine on this side of the vehicle. We're going to make a general statement that all hoses, all wires are all connected. There's nothing cracked, there's nothing broken, and there's nothing damaged, and there's nothing leaking. More importantly, we do have to point to certain parts, letting them know that we know how to identify the part and that we're going to inspect the part. So the first one is going to be this air filter. It's securely mounted, it's not cracked, it's not broken and damaged, it's also not leaking. All right, we're going to have this turbo hose pipe. Right, it's connected and securely mounted on both ends, not broken or damaged, and it's also not leaking. We're going to have the radiator, which is all secure, not cracked, it's not broken or damaged, also has no leaks. We're going to have the radiator fan, which is securely mounted, not cracked, broken or damaged. And we're going to mention that there are no missing blades. We're going to let your examiner know that you have 3 parts that are belt driven. They get their power from this belt. All right, this is the serpentine belt. So the first belt driven part is going to be this AC compressor, which is securely mounted. It's not cracked, broken, or damaged. It's also not leaking. Our second belt driven part is going to be this alternator, which is securely mounted, not broken or damaged. All wires are connected. Our third belt driven part is going to be this water pump, which is securely mounted, not broken or damaged, and it's also not leaking. We're going to inspect the belt. We're going to let them know that the belt is not cracked, it's not broken or damaged, and it has no more than 3/4 of an inch play if I were to pull on it. And that's all we would talk about on this side of the vehicle. And now we're going to go to the other side, where this is the gear-driven side. So again, when we come to this side of the vehicle, we're going to make that same general statement that all hoses, all wires are all connected. There's nothing cracked, broken, or damaged, and there's nothing leaking. All right, we're going to suggest that you go to 3 parts that are on the inside of the vehicle first, because if you don't go to them first, you may have a tendency of forgetting them. So the first one is going to be this air compressor. So you're going to find this. This is the one that pushes all of the air into your brake system. So this is the air compressor. You're going to let the examiner know that it is gear driven, and you're going to inspect it. It's securely mounted, not cracked, it's not broken or damaged, and it's also not leaking. Underneath this air compressor is always the power steering pump. So you point down there and you let them know that the power steering pump is securely mounted, not broken or damaged, it's not leaking, and it's also gear driven. These are the only 2 parts that are gear driven. All right, only 2. Next to the air compressor is this air governor. All right, this is the one that tells the air compressor when to stop pushing air into the system. All right, so air governor is securely mounted, not cracked, broken, or damaged. It's also not leaking. All right, so we suggest that you go to those 3 parts first, and then you're going to work your way to all other reservoirs and all other liquids. So this big one here, this is the engine coolant reservoir. We're going to let them know that it's at the proper level. The cap is secure, all hoses are secure, and it is not leaking. This one right here, this is going to be the power steering fluid reservoir. It is at a proper level. The cap is secure, all hoses are secure, and it is not leaking. This is the windshield washer fluid reservoir. It has a proper level. The cap is secure, all hoses and wires are connected. It's also not leaking. The yellow is the engine oil dipstick. It's at a proper level. The dipstick is secure and it's also not leaking. And I would check this with the engine off. So that's going to be all your liquids, right? After you do all your liquids, Now you're going to go into 3 systems that are in here. 3. The first system is going to be your steering system, your suspension system, and your brake system. So starting off with the steering, all right, you're going to let them know that this is the steering shaft or steering column. It's securely mounted. It's not cracked. It's not bent, broken, or damaged. We're going to have these U-joints. So we have some here and we have some at the very top. All right, these are U-joints. And we're going to let them know that the U-joints are properly greased and they're securely mounted, not cracked, broken, or damaged. This is the power steering gearbox. It is securely mounted. It's not cracked. It's not broken or damaged. All hoses are secure and it's also not leaking. This is the pitman arm. The pitman arm is securely mounted on both ends. It's not broken or damaged. We're going to have a drag link, which is securely mounted on both ends. It's not cracked and not damaged. We're going to have an upper control arm, which is securely mounted. It's not cracked. It's also not broken or damaged. Since we have an upper control arm, we're going to have a lower control arm. And the lower control arm, it looks just like the upper control arm, it's just lower, right? Lower control arm, securely mounted. It's not cracked, broken, or damaged. And that lower control arm is attached to this tie rod. This is the tie rod that's going to the other wheel on the other side. So it's securely mounted on both ends. It's not broken. It's also not damaged. So that is the steering system. However, we do have these castle nuts and cotter pins, right? We have a set of castle nut and cotter pins here. We have a set of castle nut and cotter pins that are here. And also on the lower control arm and the tie rod is another set of castle nut and cotter pins, which are all secure, not broken and damaged, and none of them are missing. So that's going to be your steering system, all right? Steering column, U-joints, power steering gearbox, the pitman arm. You have a castle nut and cotter pin, a drag link, a castle nut and cotter pin, an upper control arm. You have a lower control arm with a castle nut and a cotter pin, and it's attached to this tie rod that's going to the other wheel on the other side. So that ends the steering system. Now we're going to move along to the suspension. So we're going to have these leaf springs, right? So these are all leaf springs, and they're securely mounted. They're not broken or damaged. They're sitting on top of each other. They're not shifting, and they also are not scissoring, all right? Meaning that they're not moving. These leaf springs are held up on both ends with a spring hanger or a spring mount. All right, this is the spring hanger, which is attached to the frame. The frame is securely mounted, not cracked, broken, or damaged. And the spring hangers are also secure. They're not cracked, broken, or damaged. All right, so we have a spring hanger or spring mount here. And also there's a spring hanger and a spring mount in the front, all right, which is holding up the leaf springs. Then we have these U-bolts. All right, these are U-bolts. All right, don't get them confused with U-joints. These are U-bolts, which are securely mounted. They're not cracked, broken, or damaged. All right, and they keep the leaf springs together, U-bolts. Then we have a shock absorber. Shock absorber is securely mounted on both ends. It's not cracked, it's not broken or damaged, and it's also not leaking, all right, because there's some oil that's inside the shock absorber. All right, so that's going to conclude the suspension. So now we're going to go to the brake system. So this is the brake chamber, which is securely mounted. It's not broken, not damaged or cracked. It's also not leaking. We have a brake hose, which is secure and coupled on both ends, not broken or damaged, not leaking. This is an ABS sensor, so it's a wire, right? So there's no fluid going through it, so it won't leak. But this is called the ABS sensor. It's securely mounted. It's also not broken and also not damaged. Now we're going to have a slack adjuster. So this is all one piece. This is the slack adjuster, which is securely mounted, not broken, and also not damaged. And going around this slack adjuster is the push rod. All right, this is the one that cannot have no more than 1 inch of play when pulled on, all right, when we're trying to check the adjustment of the brakes, right? It's also securely mounted, not cracked, broken, or damaged. Inside, we're going to talk about and look for the drum. This is the brake drum. All right. This is secure, not cracked, it's not broken or damaged, and there are no contaminants such as oil or grease. This part here, this is the brake shoe. You see this little gap? So this is a shoe, and this is also a shoe. This has to have a minimum thickness of 1/4 of an inch. And then this skinny piece, this is called the brake lining, which is all secure. It's not cracked, broken, or damaged, and no signs of any contaminants. All right, so these 3 parts: brake drum, brake shoe, and brake lining. Once we do the brakes, now we're going to come to the steer tire. We're going to let them know that this is the steer tire and that this tire cannot be recapped, meaning that it cannot be repaired. All right, you cannot re-groove it. You can't take a nail out or a screw and repair it and put it back on. All right, once it gets compromised, it's garbage. So you need to let the examiner know that it cannot be recapped. The tread depth, you're going to let them know that the tread depth for the front steer tires has to have a minimum thickness of 4/32. All right, so tread depth is 4/32. The tire is in good condition. The tire is inflated to a minimum of 100 PSI. The outside wall of the tire, it cannot have any cuts, cracks, bulges, or bubbles on the outside wall of the tire. There is no space between the tire and the rim. The rim, there's no cracks, there's no dents, and there are no illegal welding to the rim. The air valve or valve stem is securely mounted, not broken or damaged, also not leaking. We're going to have all lug nuts and studs, which are all securely mounted, and none of them are missing. And we're going to have this hub seal. This hub seal is securely mounted, and it's also filled to the manufacturer's specifications. All right, and it's also not leaking. All right, once we end up at this wheel, that concludes the section 1 inspection. All right, that's in section 1. Okay, so we just concluded section 1. Now section 2, if they have you do section 2, you're going to start from this mirror bracket, the door, and this DEF tank. So how we do it is basically show and tell. So we're going to talk about this mirror, the mirror bracket, which is securely mounted to the truck, not cracked, broken, or damaged. The door and the window is securely mounted. It's also not cracked, broken, or damaged. The steps are clean. They're also not cracked, broken, or damaged. The DEF tank, which is securely mounted to the frame, it's not broken or damaged. All hoses and wires are connected, not leaking. And the DEF cap is secure and also not leaking. The fuel tank is secure, and the straps are all secure to the frame. They're not cracked, broken, or damaged. It's not leaking. The fuel cap is secure and it's also not leaking. You're going to let them know that the door opens properly. So you're going to open up the door opens up properly. The door is not sagging, not broken, also not damaged. You're going to let them know that the door hinges are securely mounted. They're not cracked, broken, or damaged. The door seal around the door is all secure. No sign of any wear or tear. And the door latch, which is securely mounted, not cracked, it's also not broken or damaged. Let them know that the door closes properly. Here, you're going to let them know that this is a battery compartment or battery box, which is securely mounted to the frame. It's not cracked, broken, or damaged. The step, secure, clean, not broken, not damaged. We're going to have air tanks at the bottom. We have 2 of them, which are securely mounted. They're not cracked. They're also not broken or damaged, not leaking. And all hoses are all connected, and they're also not leaking. Again, the frame is secure. It's also not cracked, broken, or damaged, and it has no illegal welding. This is a fuel filter, which is securely mounted, not broken or damaged. The cap is secure, and it is not leaking, and all wires are connected. This is the catwalk. The catwalk is securely mounted to the frame. It's not broken, also not damaged. We're going to have an exhaust. The exhaust is securely mounted. It's not cracked. It's not broken or damaged. No sign of any leaks. and we're gonna have a drive shaft. The drive shaft is securely mounted, not cracked, it's also not broken or damaged. And there are a set of U-joints here, and we're gonna let them know that there is nothing in between the U-joints. So now we have where the tractor couples to the trailer. So we're gonna let them know about this red line, the blue line, and the green line. We're gonna let them know that the red is the emergency air line, the blue is the service air line, and the green is the electrical line. They're all secure, they're not broken or damaged, and they're also not leaking. The glad hands are securely mounted, not cracked, they're not broken or damaged, and they're not leaking. You're gonna let them know that the lines are not touching the frame of the catwalk so that we can successfully make turns with no interference. All right, so with this section, we're gonna keep continuing on with the tractor only, and we're gonna talk about this splash guard or mud guard, which is securely mounted to the frame. It's not broken, it's also not damaged. Now we're gonna go into this wheel system. All right, so at every wheel, we have to talk about brakes, suspension, and the wheel itself. So just like the front, we have to talk about leaf springs, right, which are securely mounted, not cracked, they're not broken or damaged. They're sitting on top of each other, they're not shifting, and there's no scissoring. All right, this is also called a spring arm because it's in the rear. So spring arm or leaf springs. The leaf springs are held up by a spring hanger or a spring mount, which is this, which is attached to the frame. All right, so this is also part of the suspension. Now, when we really get inside there, we're gonna be looking for the U-bolt that keeps the leaf springs together. All right, but it's hard to really find it, but we still in this area, so we still have to call out these certain components of the suspension, even though we really don't see it. All right, because they're there. Just because we don't see it doesn't mean they're not there, so we still have to call it out. So when we come to the back, we're gonna have this airbag that's here, right? We have this airbag, which is securely mounted. It's not cracked, it's not broken or damaged. It's also not leaking. And we're gonna have a shock absorber, which is securely mounted, not cracked, broken or damaged, and also not leaking. Now, when we come in and we really get down under here, this is where we're gonna find the U-bolts, right? So these are the U-bolts, which are all securely mounted, not cracked, broken, or damaged. All right, so that's gonna be the suspension. Now, when we go back out, we're gonna look for the brakes. So we're gonna go back to the other side in the front, and we're gonna look for the brake chamber, which is this. This is the brake chamber. All right, it's bigger in the rear, all right, than it is in the front, but this is the brake chamber. So this is where we're gonna start inspecting our brakes. So the brake chamber is securely mounted, not cracked, broken, or damaged. It's also not leaking. Now, everything associated with the brakes we will be calling out. The brake hose, the ABS sensor, the slack adjuster, and the push rod. And the push rod can't have no more than 1 inch of play when pulled on when we're looking to check the adjustment of the brakes. Also the brake drum, the brake shoes, and the brake lining. They can't have any contaminants. And also the brake shoes have to have a minimum thickness of 1/4 of an inch. So that's what we will be calling out underneath here. All right, because that's part of the brake system. Your examiner needs to know that you know that these parts are here. All right, so now we're gonna talk about the mud flap, which is securely mounted, not cracked, it's not broken, it's also not damaged. We're gonna have the tail lights, brake lights, four-way flashes, left turn signal and right turn signal, all secure. It's not cracked, broken, or damaged. And we're gonna have a reverse light, which is securely mounted, not broken or damaged. All right, the license plate would be here, which would be visible, not broken, and also not damaged. And then we're gonna talk about how the tractor is coupled together to the trailer. So when we come down, we're gonna talk about this area here. All right, this is the bottom part of the trailer, all right, but this is called the apron. All right, so this is an apron, and we're gonna inspect it. It's securely mounted, it's not cracked, it's not broken, it's also not damaged. We're gonna talk about that there is no space between the apron and this fifth wheel skid plate. So this is called the fifth wheel skid plate. So there's no space in between. and that the fifth wheel skid plate is properly greased. All right, this is called a safety pin, which is securely mounted. It's not cracked, it's not broken, and it's not damaged. This is the release handle. The release handle is securely mounted, not broke or damaged, and it's in the lock position. We're going to have this part, which is called the platform. The platform and the mounting plate are securely mounted, not cracked, they're not broken or damaged. And we're going to have these mounting bolts, which are all secure and none of them are missing. Now, to finalize this coupling area, we're going to talk about the locking jaw that's secure around the kingpin. So we're going to go under. All right, and when we go under, we're going to look for this, which is the locking jaw. All right, this is going across. This is the locking jaw that's secure around the kingpin that's coming from the apron. All right, so lock jaw is secure around the kingpin. And now since we're here, we're going to talk about this bar here. This is called the torque arm. All right, so torque arm is securely mounted. It's not cracked, it's not bent, broken, or damaged. All right, and then this part here, finally, this is going to be the differential. The differential is securely mounted, it's not cracked, it's not broken, and it's not damaged or leaking. All right, and that's going to conclude the section 2. Section off is from the landing gear to from the mud flap to the landing gear, there's the proper clearance so that we could properly make turns, like there's nothing in between. So from the mud flap to the landing gear, we have the proper clearance so that we can safely make turns. And that's going to conclude section 2. Okay, good. So section 3 is going to start from the front of the trailer, and we're going to call the front of the trailer the header board. So the header board, which we have this refrigerator that's attached to the header board, which is all secure, it's not cracked, it's not broken or damaged. You're going to let them know the height of your trailer, which is 12 feet 6 inches. Here we're going to have the inspection of the trailer. So the inspection of the trailer is clean and up to date. We're going to have this DOT reflective tape, which is clean, it's visible, and it takes up at least 50% of the side of the trailer. Up top, we're going to have a clearance light that has a proper color amber. It's not cracked, broken, or damaged, and it is working. On the side of the vehicle, you're going to let them know that there is no damage to the side of the vehicle, and all rivets are all secure, and none of them are missing. All right, now we're going to go under, because we're going to talk about the underneath and the belly of the trailer. All right, so you might want to pause here. And when we go under, we're going to talk about these cross members. So these cross members are going across the whole entire length of the trailer. So cross members are securely mounted. They're not cracked, they're not broken or damaged. None of them are missing. And the floorboard. The floorboard is secure. It's not broken or damaged. No sign of any holes. Now we have the landing gear. So the landing gear is fully raised. It's not cracked, it's not broken, it's also not damaged. We have the support, and we also have the frame to the landing gear, which is all secure, not cracked, not broken, not damaged. We have a crank handle. So the crank handle is stored away in the lock position. It's not cracked, it's also not broken and not damaged. This trailer is a refrigerated trailer, so it has its own fuel source. So this is the fuel tank. So what do? We inspect it. It is securely mounted to the frame. It's not broken or damaged. It's also not leaking. The cap is secure and also not leaking. Here we have a turn signal or a marker light. It has the proper color amber. It's not broken or damaged, and it's working. Then when we get to the back, we're going to have another wheel system. So we got to talk about the wheel, the suspension, and the brakes. So when we go under, when we talk about the suspension, we're going to have the leaf springs, which is securely mounted. They're not broken or damaged. They're sitting on top of each other. They're not shifting and they're not scissoring. We're going to have the spring hanger or the spring arm and spring mounts, which are all secure. They're not cracked. They're not bent, broken, or damaged. And we have the U-bolts, which are all secure. They're not cracked, broken, or damaged. We also have an air tank that's back here. Securely mounted, not cracked, broken, or damaged, not leaking. All hoses are secure and they're not leaking. The brake system, we have the brake chamber, securely mounted, not cracked, broken, or damaged, not leaking. We have the brake hose, secure, not cracked, broken, or damaged. And we have ABS sensors, which is secure, not broken, and also not damaged. We have a slack adjuster, which is securely mounted, not broken or damaged. And we have a push rod, which is securely mounted, not broken or damaged. And it has no more than 1 inch of play when pulled on when we're looking for the adjustments of the brakes. Inside, we have the brake drum, which is secure, not broken, not damaged. We have the brake shoes, which is secure, not broken or damaged. No sign of any contaminants, and they have a thickness of 1/4 inch. And we have the brake lining, which is secure, not broken or damaged, and no contaminants. So that's going to conclude the brakes, the suspension, and we have an air tank that's back here. So then now we're going to finish up by inspecting and looking in between these dual tires. Always look in between, let them know that there's nothing in between the tires. The tires are the same size. And now we're going to inspect the tread depth of the rear tires. So the tread depth is going to be 232 in the rear. The tire is in good condition. The tire is inflated to a minimum 100 PSI. The outside wall of the tire, there's no cuts, bubbles, or bulges. There is no space between the tire and the rim. The rim, there's no cracks, there's no dents, there are no illegal welding. We're going to have an air valve that is securely mounted and not leaking. All lug nuts and studs are all secure and none of them are missing. And we're going to have a hub seal, which is secure and is filled to the manufacturer's specifications. We're going to have a mud flap, which is securely mounted to the frame, not broken or damaged. It's not touching the tire and it's not touching the ground. We're going to have 2 lights in the back. This first one is amber. This is the ABS light. It's secure, not broken or damaged. And this one in the rear, which is red, this is the clearance light or marker light, which is secure, not cracked, broken, or damaged. Now we're going to go to the rear. So the rear of the trailer, we're going to do the same thing we did in the front. We're going to start at the very top. We're going to point to the clearance lights. They have the proper color red. They're not broken or damaged, and they're all working. There is no damage to the back of my trailer door. It's securely mounted. My trailer latch, it's securely mounted, not broken or damaged. My trailer handle is securely mounted. It's not broken, also not damaged. The DOT reflective tape, it's clean and visible, and it takes up 100% of the back of the trailer. We're gonna have brake lights, tail lights, 4-way flashes, right signal, left signal, all have the proper color red, not broken, also not damaged. We're gonna have the DOT bumper, which is securely mounted, not cracked, broken, or damaged. And again, DOT reflective tape is clean and visible, and it takes up 100% of the back of the trailer. We would have a plate that's here, which would be securely mounted, not broken or damaged. It's clean and visible. And this is the license plate light, which is secure, not cracked, broken, or damaged. And that's going to conclude the outside inspection of your vehicle on a Section 3.